This week you guys are looking to bounce back for the first time this season, coming off a loss. What were some of the things you saw 2 weeks ago that didn't earn this team the result they had hoped for?
I think a lot of it was our energy. We just didn't have much of a get up and go there. For whatever reason, we just didn't have it that night. And again, we lost a lot of battles all over the floor, loose balls. Postie's real good in faceoffs, and we kind of let him down there as well. And just little things that just adds up into the wrong side of the score column.
This is a pretty big game. It's the first time you've seen these guys since the playoffs last year. And going into camp, you talked about how making the playoffs was an important step for this organization, but that you are now looking for the next step. And to get an opportunity to go up against the defending champions is maybe a good measuring stick?
100%. They're the best for a reason. And again, they've had a little bit of struggles this year, but they are still the best until they're not, right? And again, Buffalo coming into town as well, it's extra motivation enough. The building's loud. And again, we got to make sure we're playing a full 60 right from the get-go, or they're going to take it to us.
You talked a lot about it earlier when we spoke, being on both sides. You played for Buffalo, played for Rochester, coach for the Knighthawks now. What makes it special when these two teams get together?
One thing, the emotion in the building, because they got a great following, and their crowd coming in here, gets our crowd fired up. And again, just the atmosphere in here, it's not something we see on an everyday basis. So just on that, and again, go back to on-floor stuff, they're the best. They got a best goaltender. Their defense is good, and their offense is legit, right? So we got to make sure we're at our best, because this is a measuring stick for us early in the season.
You talked about goaltenders. This one's one that not only the Knighthawks are familiar with during the championship era, the original franchise, but just in general. Matt Vince, arguably, maybe definitively, the greatest goalie in league history. How do you prepare a team playing a guy like that?
Try to get to spots where he doesn't want to see the ball coming from. And again, that's going to be by committee. It's going to be a lot of ball movement, a lot of hard picks, and just trying to, get their D on their heels a little bit and keep them guessing.
From their offense, you talked about some dynamics obviously over there. Smith is a big one, but they are 2-2 right now. What do you think is different from this year's team Buffalo's team this year versus last year's?
It's hard to say. It just, again, I'm not sure if they've got their complete rhythm going yet, but, saying that any night and, 92 can go off, 22 can go off, and again, it just rolls from there, right? So they're the two catalysts that we got to make sure we're keying on, but at the same time, we got to be making sure we're smart, we're tight, and we're putting them in spots. We talked about getting to spots to shoot. We got to keep them in spots that they don't want to shoot from.
You mentioned about their offense being dynamic. I mean, certainly Dane and Josh are great 1-2 punches. There's a lot of great 1-2 punches in this league. What makes those guys different?
You know what, we kind of talked about it. They're so methodic in what they do, and they're individually so uber talented, but they work so well together. Like that, there's probably one of the most unselfish groups that you see. So it's hard because, again, they got a great mix, right? You got one inside, you got 91 bumping around. You got whoever's on that left side. Now that 10's kind of not there, right? So they got a lot of guys that understand their role, and they work so well together that it's hard to key on with just one guy.
Maybe speaking from your defensive side, I was listening and Ethan kept pointing out some things like, hey, watch this, watch that. How valuable is it to have a guy who played with those guys, talking to Steve and saying, this is what they want to do, like giving our defense a roadmap of what to look for.
It just kind of adds to it, again, because watching film, you have that kind of mindset, okay, this is kind of what they like to do, but to have the guy that's been in the trenches with them, verifying that, what our eyes kind of think we see, it just bodes well for, for our preparation, and again, just hopefully we'll be even uber focused on, trying to create or trying to stop some of that stuff.
Goalie situation has been talked about a lot this week. Even Dan this week addressed the goalie situation. But talk about Hutch and how valuable he's been to this team already this season. Because when Hartley wasn't feeling the first game, then he went down with the injury. But Hutchin, from a fan's perspective, thought, the backup goalies, but he's been playing at an elite level.
100%. He had a dynamite summer, and again, from our eyes and looking at it, he had a dynamite summer, and he came into camp and just carried that momentum forward, and now he's got his opportunity, and again, he's playing very, very well. He's given us an opportunity every time to win, right? And again, he's given us 3 wins because he stopped the bleeding on a few of them, right? So he's been real good, and again, a big test here for him and for us, but we should be prepared and we're ready to go.